Hey there. Welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN. I am Ty Windisch, one of your hosts, joined as always by the shocked Rohan Katti, who I asked on our last podcast, just off the cuff toward the end, Rohan, should the Bucks fire Adrian Griffin? And to be honest, Rohan, I apologize. I don't remember exactly what you said, but if you had said, yes, they should do it tomorrow, you would have been prescient, as the Bucks have fired Adrian Griffin, and we are here to talk about it and the slop around it, and importantly, what comes next, because there's a game tomorrow, and there's a lot of games in the next 2 weeks. But of course, first,
just halfway through the season,
yeah, a little bit over. I think played 42 games,
yeah,
43 games,
yeah, 2 games over, halfway mark.
Joe Prunty. Oh, we'll talk about it. But Rohan, how's it going?
Doing well. This is one heck of a birthday present for you, Ty. Everyone go wish Ty a happy birthday.
Thanks, Rohan. Yeah, did you know Jason Kidd was the day before 6 years ago?
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, so Horst, within 24 hours of my birthday, has fired a coach and then put Joe Prunty in charge twice. And that's not a lot of times, but it's still weird it happened twice.
Yeah, it's crazy circumstances. We're here, Ty. We're here.
We are.
Adrian Griffin is no longer the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. Ends his tenure with a 30-13 record as a
tied for third best all-time winning percentage among NBA head coaches.
I'm so glad you looked that up because I was going to and I forgot.
Somebody shared it. I mean, the content right now. This is maybe like, has there ever been this many Bucks things like content? I mean, obviously they got Dame, but I feel like the amount of stats and news stories and memes, it just feels off the charts right now.
It's a wild time for the Milwaukee Bucks, considering they're also approaching the trade deadline. It is, I forget what day it is.
Oh,
boy. One second.
February 8th is the
February
trade deadline.
8th.
I knew that. That's not why I said, oh boy. We've got a new report from Shams of The Athletic.
Oh, God. No. Did you read it? Read it.
I'm going to read it. Why the Bucks fired Adrian Griffin and why Doc Rivers could be their next head coach. By Shams Charania, Sam Amick, and Eric Dame of The Athletic. I'm just always used to saying that after his name. The Bucks' choice to fire first year. I haven't read that. We're going to read this live. The Bucks' choice to fire first-year head coach Adrian Griffin on Tuesday was hardly an overnight decision. It was born out of months of underwhelming play, with internal concerns growing about the severe decline of their once elite defense, the flawed use of Dame. I'm going to skip some. It's really wordy. Dame alongside Giannis, widespread fear that this group, which was expected to contend, was likely to fall short if they stood pat. Internal skepticism was growing as far back as the loss to the Pacers in the in-season tournament. Here's the scary part. That part's kind of scary too. League sources say Doc Rivers, who signed on as an ESPN analyst after getting fired by Philadelphia in May, began to serve as an informal consultant to Griffin at the behest of the Bucks. That's new.
Wait, what? Say that again?
He began to serve as a informal consultant to Griffin at the behest of the Bucks. So the Bucks had Griffin getting some tips from Doc.
Did they say when that began?
No. A month ago. 1 month later. Multiple sources briefed on the matter now indicate that Rivers is the serious leader for the now vacant position and the preferred choice of key stakeholders. This sounds like Jimmy Haslam to me. This is the downside of that big money bag the Bucks added over the offseason. The Bucks have started discussions with Rivers to become the new head coach of the franchise, league sources said. Warriors assistant coach Kenny Atkinson, who was a runner-up to Griffin at the Bucks head coaching search last year, is also a candidate if the team is unable to secure a deal with Rivers. So Doc is in first. Doc was giving what tips was he giving? What I don't get. Okay, Griffin didn't do a good enough job. The guy giving him tips is the one to bring in?
If you're gonna say, like, look at the Milwaukee Bucks for the last month and say, yeah, we want that guy.
Yeah, the last month has been their worst part of the season.
Oh my God, this is.
I mean, I don't think that's because of coaching, but
no.
I don't think
and again,
coached worse in the last month than he did the rest of the season. I don't want Doc, Rohan.
I don't want Doc either. I know people.
He's a championship coach. He certainly has experience. He's been a head coach for before you were born, I think. In 2008, for sure, he was a head coach, which is 5 years before you were born. But Also, he's just inflexible. He throws people under the bus. He runs all bench lineups way too regularly. He makes bad rotation decisions like Montrezl Harrell at age 400 in NBA years over the legendary B-ball Paul, who had a nickname despite playing like 2 seconds in the NBA. I'm worried about Doc.
I am worried about Doc as well. I think most Game 7 losses in history.
Yes.
Blown. I think most 3-1 leads blown too.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's only so many.
It's just like it's one of those situations. It's that Arrested Development meme where it's like it hasn't worked for anyone else, but maybe it'll work for us because after the Celtics, what was it? It was Clippers. Lob City. Lob City was a mess. Lob City was an absolute mess. Given you can attribute a lot of that to injury if you want, whatever.
And I mean, they went up against some buzzsaw teams. I mean, I think
buzzsaw teams.
It's not just that he hasn't won a title; it's the way he's coached while not winning a title. I mean, the Lob City Clippers were great. Maybe they could have won one. I don't think there were many years where it was like, oh yeah, they're for sure going to win. I mean, they were in a loaded West, and then of course, I mean, we all know about the 76ers.
We're not even finished with the Clippers. First year of Kawhi and PG.
Oh yeah,
that didn't work out.
No,
didn't work out in Philly. Why is it going to work out with the Bucks?
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's like, okay, so here's the thing. Let's take this from a high, like let's sort of condense this down. So the Bucks are in a very, very, very difficult spot.
Yeah.
One, they don't have a head coach, obviously.
They have Joe Prunty.
They have Joe Prunty, again, who's the interim head coach, which is just I don't know what parallel reality we're in, but I don't know how it's this one.
It's very weird. Clearly, they learned from last time, though, because they are not resting on Joe Prunty. And the team released a statement that also confirmed that they are looking for their next head coach right now.
Yes. And so they do not have like a head coach. They have interim Joe Prunty here. They also, where do you have to conduct a quick and thorough search. A quick and thorough search doesn't really work well together, right? Those teams don't really, those terms don't really mesh because they're in the middle of the season.
They talked to these people before the year though, didn't they?
Yeah, that's true.
I think Doc too, right? I know they did Mark Jackson. I actually don't know if they interviewed Doc.
I don't know if they interviewed Doc.
They've been talking to Doc for a month, so they know Doc at this point.
That's crazy. That is crazy to me.
That is beyond wild. They put training wheels on Griffin, and they still must have felt like he fell off the bike.
Yeah.
Giannis drew up a play in the huddle.
There's too much going on, but just they don't have a head coach. They have to conduct a search quickly because again, they're more than halfway through the NBA season, and this is a team that wants to win a title this season. They are built to win a title this season. So you kind of need to have a coach. You need to have a game plan. This is a roster that is in flux due to the trade deadline being when did we say February 8th?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks from Thursday. So you have to not only manage that with your, like, let's say you get a new head coach in the next 2 days. You have to not only have that head coach like meet with the players, get all that information, like sort of see what you've got, and then make roster decisions because the trade deadline is coming up. It's a wild and bad spot for the Bucks to be in.
Everyone's
and that's
gonna
why
say Ty Lue now.
Ty Lue has a job.
No, I mean that situation. Ty Lue took over the Cavs and they won the title for David Blatt, who also had a very good record. But Ty Lue was already in the building.
He was on the staff already.
And Ty Lue is Ty Lue.
Yes, he was on the staff already. He was at that point the highest paid assistant in the NBA because everyone knew that he was going to be a head coach somewhere.
A lot of people knew he was going to be the head coach in Cleveland before much longer too.
It's almost apples and oranges.
It is. We have more insight here, more reporting.
Oh boy.
This is the same article. This is on The Athletic, if I didn't make this clear. While the Bucks compiled a 15-6 record leading up to their trip to the in-season tournament, their leadership organized a meeting between Griffin and veteran. There's a missing and. Come on, The Athletic. And veteran NBA head coach Doc Rivers, who was broadcasting games for ESPN at the in-season tournament. Per league sources, the organization believed Rivers, a 24-year NBA head coach.
Yeah, he's been coaching since '99, I think.
Damn. Is he somewhere before Boston too?
I
He
think
must have
so.
been. There's no way he was there for that long. But an NBA champion once may be able to offer Griffin advice and guidance on how to navigate his first NBA season with high expectations and a championship caliber team. I mean, put that way, I would like more info. Maybe it's coming. I'll scroll down in the article. Like, if they set up a meeting and just like, hey, talk to him and give him some tips on being an NBA head coach, that doesn't sound as crazy as like Doc piping in Zoom to the practices and telling him how to. I really need more info on this.
I know, because the first thing you mentioned, you said he was like an informal consultant, and that doesn't really.
Yeah, if they met once in Vegas because they were both there to talk, that's a lot different.
Yeah. Also, he was the coach of the Magic from '99 to 2003.
The Magic, that's what it was.
Yep.
Following the Bucks' disappointing loss to the Pacers, they ripped off a 7-game win streak, appeared to steady the ship. Problems arose again in the new year. In January, the Bucks are 6-5, and internally, team sources say players began to question Griffin's schemes on both sides of the floor and the strategy that was being laid out for them each night. While players were willing to be patient with Griffin as he learned on the job because of the team's vast personnel changes at the start of the year, the questions grew more significant as the team failed to show substantial growth at the midway point of the season.
Okay, we got a fresh report here from Woj.
What do we got?
Doc Rivers is a top Milwaukee target to replace Adrian Griffin, but the sides have yet to talk. Bucks are expected to reach out and gauge his interest soon. That is conflicting. We have a report off, ladies and gentlemen.
That is conflicting. Well, I wonder, is this the Bucks kind of putting it out there like, hey, this isn't done yet? Like, we're like maybe making sure some of the other candidates might know publicly, like,
Kenny Atkinson, please.
I mean, I don't know what they can legally say directly to Kenny Atkinson because he does work for another team. They probably do have to get permission to talk to him.
Of course.
So I wonder, is this then, we can't talk to him within 5 minutes, but we can tell Woj, hey, make sure Kenny knows this isn't a done deal with Doc yet. Kenny at this point is a slam dunk to me.
Kenny is my pick, as I've known about this news for like an hour and a half.
I was with Doc, but sorry, no, I wasn't. Bud, all these 3-letter nicknames for coaches, but it's probably just not realistic, right?
Bud, no.
People talked about country club culture and
no. There's a reason they moved on in the first place.
Yeah, but I mean,
But here's the thing, though. Like here's the situation. The Bucks have to. They have to steer the ship. They have to course correct immediately.
That's what I mean. Do I think Bud makes a ton of sense? Maybe it's just for 6 months, one last ride.
Again, is that what you want to do if you're a franchise? Is just do this and have 3 head coaching searches in a year?
No, what I want to do is nail the hire, but they didn't do that, and now you just have to do whatever you can.
Yeah, I guess.
I think there's a chance whoever they bring in, no matter what they say, I mean, they could either be on a short contract or just get fired after the year if things don't go well. I mean, we are on a crunched, high-pressure timetable.
Which is why I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I think they're going to be like, hey, this is the guy. We have to give it, like, whoever they hire. This is the guy. I don't think
this one, too.
Same, which is why I'm shocked that we're here. You put yourself in this tough position where it's like, yeah, we have to nail this hire. Otherwise, we're doing this again in 6 months. And what does that do to our players? What does that do to our reputation? Like, what are the ripple effects of this?
To be clear, I think they want to hire someone who will be the coach for the rest of the Dame tenure. That is going to be the goal right now. I don't think the plan is to hire someone for 4 months, 5 months, hopefully.
Which is why this is a crazy situation that I did not really expect. Am I going to say like, yeah, Adrian Griffin, he's the guy, he's going to be the guy that leads the Bucks to a championship this season? Is he like a top NBA coach? No. Did I think he was going to get fired? No, purely because of the situation that we are now currently in, is that it's just you have such a time crunch. It's horrible timing. Yeah. It's just horrible timing.
Yeah, it's almost surprising. Like they didn't lay some groundwork and then make the move around All-Star when you have a week off.
Yeah, or even
maybe that's when they'll bring in a coach is like toward the end of this upcoming run. I mean, I don't know. So I don't know if I said this. They have a press conference scheduled for 5:15 p.m. Central on Wednesday before their next game, basically. I would be surprised if they announce a coach by then.
I don't know. I could anything could happen
based
at
on
this
that
point.
Woj report.
Yeah, based on that Woj report, yeah.
I mean, I think they'll move quickly. I don't know if they'll move that quickly. I mean, it's just installing new stuff over All-Star would seem to make the most sense. But I mean, maybe Prunty will change what they've been doing now if they were so frustrated about the schemes. We have more slop.
Oh boy.
Strong issues in Griffin's early tenure ranged from putting together strong schemes on both ends of the floor to successfully communicating his vision to his players for them to execute it on the floor. The bottom line, given the high stakes of this Bucks era, the concern over Griffin's ability became a question too big for executive leadership. It's not the front office, executive leadership, to withstand any longer. Struggled on defense. They're 22nd. Boiling point, the Houston loss. They share the Giannis quotes about that. The frustration continued in the Cleveland game. Things were bad. I'm seeing if there's any news in here. I'm just reading through this for the first time.
Is this The Athletic?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more news? I mean, this is all just things were bad. Their defense was bad. Everything else.
And it's we've been talking about this all season long, and especially
it says the embarrassing loss to the Cavs in many ways appears to have been a tipping point. Jimmy Haslam was in the building.
Oh, God.
That's in here. Served as a vivid reminder of the questions Griffin has struggled to answer. Could have been the perfect time to let Lillard loose. I mean, some of this is Lillard finished with just 17 points on 7 for 20 shooting. Again, I don't think Griffin dialed up the missed 13 of your 20 shots play. A little of this is now getting conflated, I think. But
I think so, too. This is, Jimmy Haslam. Papa
Jimbo is wild.
This is what happens with new ownership. This is what happens. It's a tale as old as time. But going back to what you were talking about earlier, all of the points that were made are valid. They're valid points. The defense, just take a listen to the episode that we recorded yesterday. The defense has been an issue. Offense has been not as strong. However, we don't necessarily believe that's all on coaching because there's a lot of personnel issues that are also plaguing this team, as we've talked about. So I'm just, am I upset that Adrian Griffin is fired? No, I'm not.
They got to nail this next part.
But that's the thing. That was always the thing, Ty. It's what do you do after? That's what matters. If you don't believe Adrian Griffin is the coach for this team, fine, fair enough. Don't he's not, clearly they didn't, so they fired him. But what do you do after to save the season? Because you cannot waste this season. You absolutely cannot waste this season. So they have to nail these next however long it takes. Who knows? Maybe I'm so happy Kenny Atkinson was mentioned in that article.
That was one of the what's getting me through this right now, Rohan.
Because before the Adrian Griffin hire was made, Kenny Atkinson was my pick to be the head coach. I think I was in lockstep with Adam and Jordan about that. I wanted Kenny Atkinson. He's a proven guy. He's been with a lot of different systems. He's okay with, being an assistant, being a head coach. He's as you've mentioned privately, he's probably poised to take over for Steve Kerr potentially next year.
Yeah.
So he is a ready-made head coaching candidate who had an opportunity. He just didn't want to in Charlotte this past season. Right? Was that this past season?
They didn't want to let him hire his full assistants.
Which is crazy. And
Hornets.
We're Oppenheimer's staying, right?
Who knows? I mean, that you joke about this because Oppenheimer memes, but there could be assistant changes if someone like Doc or Kenny Atkinson is brought in.
That's the thing. This could be a wholesale change of your entire organization.
Oh, it is. No matter even if they don't change this, it is. I mean, things are going to be different, clearly.
But that changes everything. That changes people players' training routines. That changes relationships. That changes everything. And plus, you're going to be running all new schemes. You have to get acclimated to everything immediately.
Can really change. I really do. I wonder what they're going to. I would say defensively, I'm guessing trapping is going to be gone.
No, they're not going to be trapping anymore.
Which, based on what we said last night, is not really an issue with me.
No, it's not an issue at all. Just, go back and listen to that last episode. But no, they're not going to be trapping. They're not going to be blitzing with Bobby, have him just recover. I don't know. Maybe we see
different. Does Marjan come back?
Who knows? Ty?
I mean, we're gonna get a big data point tomorrow night on if Marjan thing was like something with him and Griffin, or if it was more than that, or whatever. I mean, imagine he just like plays 25 minutes in that game.
What if he starts? What if he gets 40? I don't know. Anything can happen. Ty, Joe Prunty's coaching the Bucks now. Like anything can happen. We
get our first injury report for that game in about 2 hours from a time that we're recording right now. So
here do you want to here's a list. I compiled a little list of because the Bucks seemingly, I forget what report it was. I think it was a Woj one saying that they're looking for a veteran head coach. Yep. So it's clearly like, hey, they tried, they got their up and coming assistant that crashed and burned. Here we are. They're like, nope, we have to go with the safe option. That's what we thought they were going to do in the offseason.
We thought Atkinson would be bold for them because he had never won a title before.
Exactly. So here's a list of active or not active, like former head coaches who are like either current assistants or just like recently out of the league. Scott Brooks, assistant with the Trailblazers.
I will say, I have a scoop. I heard they liked him when they interviewed him over the summer. I heard that recently. I heard that today.
Oh, okay.
I think I would imagine they'll talk to him again for this.
Mike D'Antoni.
He is 900, which actually is a double-edged sword. It's good because he can empathize with the roster, but also he's 900 years old. Because they are also 9.
Yeah, exactly. Because the roster is 900 years old.
Exactly.
Terry Stotts.
Dude, would be like, people say the NBA is a soap opera, would be the most dramatic thing in Bucks history. Imagine Stotts walking through that door, or would it be Bud? Either one.
It's Bud. It's Bud. Bud's the most dramatic, but Terry Stotts is probably the most realistic of the two.
Yeah. That would be crazy.
Doc Rivers, Kenny Atkinson, the Van Gundys.
Did you see my post about when someone brought up Jeff to me?
No.
It was like, what I don't understand is this touchback rule in the NFL. Where does this come from? And then Giannis is like, Coach, the timeout's almost over. What are we going to run? And then Van Gundy's like, don't get me started on these TV timeouts. All he does is complain. No, thank you. Stan also, no, thank you. Sam Cassell, I mean, interesting. He's never head coach, though, right?
No. Steven Silas.
No, thank you.
Lloyd Pierce.
I don't know anything about Lloyd Pierce, to be honest with you.
Igor Kokoshkov.
No, thank you.
Ryan Saunders.
Also, no, thank you.
Larry Drew.
Wow, that would be full circle. Giannis talks about Larry Drew all the time.
David Fizdale.
Everyone loves Fizz as a person. They don't seem to love him as a coach.
James Borrego.
Is he on a team now, right? He's on a staff?
Yeah.
Pelicans?
Yeah, he's on a staff. I think so.
I mean,
yeah,
interesting offensive mind. I don't know. They interviewed him, right?
I think. I don't remember.
He's probably
Brett Brown.
Again, just like good. Seems like a good guy, but I don't know. Yeah.
He's on the Spurs staff right now.
He's a pop guy. He saw Embiid score 71. It was nice.
70. Don't give him an extra.
Sorry, 70.
But yeah, those are the guys who are currently in NBA. Is he? I don't think he's on a staff, is he?
Oh, I thought you just meant anyone who's loose.
Oh no, in general. Dave Yeager, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone I said outside of the Van Gundys is currently on like in an NBA staff, and Mike D'Antoni.
Jeff is.
Is he?
I think Jeff works for the Celtics.
Jeff Van Gundy does?
I don't know if he like not as a true assistant coach. I think he's like a consultant, but I was pretty sure. Am I right?
I don't know.
Shams is sharing the pool of 41 finalists for the Olympics. So we've got that.
Oh yeah, he's a senior consultant. What do you know?
Boom. Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
Have you seen this list already?
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, Chris Haynes had it earlier.
Drew Holiday. I saw it.
Damian Lillard.
Bobby Portis. They left Chris.
Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this?
I don't know. It popped up. Shiny object in front of me. I looked at it. In this article, last thing from this article is Dame's role in the offense was also mentioned.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we'll probably see more Dame, maybe a little less Chris, maybe a little less Bobby post up.
Maybe. We'll see. But there needs to be a head coach for that. So
they play a game tomorrow night either way.
Yeah.
So we might see some changes even then. Obviously, it won't be anything permanent. Poor Joe Prunty.
I know. I feel so bad for him.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
I hope they keep him on as an assistant.
I mean, I think they would.
Yeah. Again, who knows? What do you think the timeline is for this?
I'll buy All-Star at the absolute latest.
I'd say they want to.
Probably much earlier.
I was going to say a lot earlier.
End of the month, we get a report.
I was going to say maybe end of the week.
That's not. I mean, we have a week left in the month, so we're not too different there.
It feels like a Thursday to me.
Yeah. Well, now it feels like a Monday morning to me. I mean, this is just wild.
This is crazy. Like, I wasn't expecting this to happen right now.
My take is Griffin clearly lost the locker room. I don't think they fire him just for the defense. I really don't.
No. If he had locker room support, he'd still be the coach. If he had Giannis's support, he'd still be the coach.
I don't think Giannis would fight it off if everyone else was like, no, he's not good. I think Giannis's role in all this stuff gets a little overstated. Personally.
I mean, this was his guy.
He liked Griffin. I don't think we've ever seen a report that's like he demanded Griffin.
I think the report we got was that Giannis liking him was what put him over the top.
But again, like that's fine. That's not. I think there's this narrative out there that, John Horst is like on his hands and knees, like, Nick Nurse, we need to do Nick Nurse, and Giannis is like, no, it's got to be Adrian Griffin.
No, it's not like that.
I don't think they would have hired Griffin if like his interview sucked and they didn't believe in him. But Giannis likes him as a person. I just don't believe that. Everything we hear about Giannis, what he wants to do in terms of his role with the team, that's not my read. But clearly, Giannis and Horst, like Giannis got the guy wrong. I mean, ownership and Horst and everyone got the hire wrong. It didn't work out. I said a month ago, if Horst feels like it's time to move on, then fine. And I'm still there. I mean, you really got to nail this hire. I'll obviously be very disappointed with Doc Rivers. I will eat crow on everything Adrian Griffin if Doc comes in and they're much better.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I would be shocked if that happens.
I would be shocked too. I don't know why Doc Rivers? Is it just because he's there?
Yeah. Right place, right time.
It's right, literally right place, right time, because you have to do this in the middle of the season when guys are already on staffs, when guys are doing whatever they want or have a head coaching job. It's just a horrible, horrible situation to be in if you're the Milwaukee Bucks.
It's a great one for Doc Rivers.
It's an amazing one for Doc Rivers. Somehow I don't understand why Doc Rivers. How many times do we have to watch this show?
Well, he's just a guy that ownership gets on board with. You look at his record over the years. He won a championship. He's won a ton of games. I mean, what is he, top 5 all time in wins probably?
Maybe.
I mean, I think he'd had 26 years, and he hasn't been on very many bad teams over that stretch.
Yeah, this just feels like if Doc Rivers is the guy, it feels like we need to keep treading water, which is, I mean, fair enough.
We need to stay afloat. Yeah.
Yeah, stay afloat. But you've put yourself in that position by doing this right now.
Yeah.
Because this has a chance to be a lost season now. It truly does. And then you're doing this all over again in 4 months.
Yeah, that would be bad. Imagine if Doc is good. Just so I can be wrong about another coaching thing this year.
If Doc, I don't know. I'm going
to pull up where he is. He also coached Marquette. He has his number retired in Fiserv.
Yes, he does.
Which is that'd be weird. Might be the only time a coach plays in somewhere where his number is retired.
I mean, not the same person, but Wes Unseld Jr.
No, yeah, I mean the same person, but yes.
Yeah.
Doc is 9th all-time in wins, and this is the shocking one. He's actually 4th all-time in playoff wins.
It's because he is emblematic of the Philadelphia 76ers. You will go win a round, you will do that year in, year out, and then you will just not go any further. Unless it's 2008.
Yeah, he's
Like think of all those times. Think how long was he the coach of the Clippers? He was the coach of the Clippers for 7 years. They didn't reach one conference finals.
yeah, he's only gone twice, which is pretty crazy considering how many great teams he's coached.
Exactly. And that's the problem the Bucks had to begin with. If you want to say the reason that the Bucks fired Mike Budenholzer is because he was not like a playoff raiser type coach, you're doing that again with Doc Rivers. There's too many names, too many coaches, Ty.
Oh wait, no, never mind. He must have only gone to the finals twice. B-ball ref it says conference, but it says Budenholzer conference 1, and he went at least twice. So I think I was wrong. I think he's gone to the finals as a coach twice. Probably did we go with Orlando once?
I mean, if you go to the finals, you go to the conference finals.
No, but two, like for Bud it says 1, and Bud has gone to the conference finals more than once.
Oh, okay.
They went in 20.
They went twice.
Yeah, and I mean I think he
no, they did. They did.
And I think he might have went with
Atlanta
once too. Yeah.
Yep, they got killed by the Cavs.
Yeah, they won the East. Yeah, of course. In 2008, they won the finals. 2010, they lost to Kobe.
But that's like a decade and a half ago.
Yeah.
We're so far removed. It's not the same sport.
Doc hasn't won 2 rounds in a playoff series since 2012.
That's 11 years ago.
Yes.
12 years ago.
12
I think
years ago, actually.
I thought it was 2023.
Not anymore.
It's a different sport, like completely, that's being played. So I don't really understand why Doc Rivers is consistently getting this sort of praise and consideration for being.
People like winning. He wins in the regular season.
So was Adrian Griffin. The Bucks have the second best record in the NBA, Ty.
I know. I'm not justifying it. I'm explaining why people like Glenn.
Or sorry, they're tied for second best record in the entire NBA. If it's just about winning, you can keep Adrian Griffin because they were winning games.
But 6-5 in January.
6-5 in January, which is when Doc started consulting. Listen, crazy.
I get
it. This makes no sense to me. This makes zero sense to me.
It makes sense to me.
Doc Rivers, like. Do the right thing and remove yourself from consideration.
I mean, yeah, I prefer if it's not Doc. We have not had a Doc team that all this stuff that with Griffin happened.
What do you mean?
Your lead assistant leaving right before the year, your players questioning what you're doing on both ends throughout the season, all these meetings getting leaked.
Yeah.
It's been messy. It's been messy.
But you can do that with anyone else, realistically, who's been a head coach.
Yeah, but the issue is there's not that many other people.
Just Steve Kerr, throw us a bone, please.
Seriously.
And not Steve Kerr. I think Joe Lacob has authority over that, right?
Him or...
It's Mike Dunleavy. Oh, no. Oh, no, Giannis, what have you done?
For anyone who hasn't connected the dots like we just both did in real time, Mike Dunleavy, the enemy of all Bucks fans after the Bulls series in 2015, where people remember Giannis decking him. He knocked Michael Carter-Williams' tooth out. Don't forget that. Dirty player. Is the GM of the Warriors right now. So maybe difficult to get Kenny Atkinson over.
Oh, no.
That's tough.
No. Oh, no.
I was hoping we would get a bigger list of candidates than just Doc, but we got Kenny, so I can't complain too much about. I was hoping we'd have even more to talk about on here, but I think we both agree.
So who are your give me a list of 5. I'll give you a list.
5? Yeah. We don't even have 5.
No, I'm saying theoretically. For me, it's Kenny first. Oh, this gets really difficult.
Yeah, I don't love number 2.
Scott Brooks, Terry Stotts.
I got Milwaukee Bucks team communication details inside. This email is ominous. I'm sure this is they emailed the fans this from John Horst and Peter Fagan. Not much new in there. God, I'm not putting Scott Brooks 2.
Who are you putting 2 then?
Bud.
Bud? Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? And then we get maybe Scary Sari.
Oh yeah, I guess. He not an inspiring head coach to me.
No.
He had Enes Kanter dropping against Steph Curry in the playoffs. Like, I know there's this like weird, like, oh, Terry was right, we got to give Terry the job. I don't know. The whole thing with him was like, yeah, good offensive assistant, not like, oh, you want him running your team.
Yeah, we didn't want him to be the head coach.
No, I would have been very underwhelmed if that was the hire.
I think the dream is Kenny Atkinson. I will be very disappointed if it's Doc Rivers. It's going to be Doc.
Would you rather have Scott Brooks? Rank these three. We'll put Kenny one. We'll put Bud aside. Rank Scott Brooks, Doc Rivers, Terry Stotts.
Probably Scott, Terry, Doc.
I don't know if I'm putting Doc last here.
Maybe Doc. I think I'm putting Scott Brooks above all three, or at the top of the list.
But what is it? Just because we have less reason to dislike him, but do we have any reason to like him?
I mean, he's been like a head coach who's been to the finals.
That's true.
He knows how to like manage superstar talent.
He's been to the finals more recently than the other two guys.
Exactly.
Everyone does like him. I guess the question is, now that Dame is here, like, you need to figure out a more sustainable defense. And as we talked about last pod, this part hasn't changed. They still need to make roster moves. Like, they don't have enough perimeter defensive talent. Maybe a new coach can do better. I don't think like you're going to look at, on December 23rd onward, the Bucks now have the 5th best defense in the league because they defended differently.
No, it's like Doc Rivers or Kenny Atkinson, whoever. They're not like Adrian Griffin wasn't drawing up the hey, Malik Beasley go die on every screen.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder if we'll get a starting lineup change. We'll see. It's everything's up in the air right now.
Just make TA the coach. I don't care.
To me, Stotts and Doc are like not that different.
Yeah, probably not, honestly.
I mean, I'll give Stotts the nod, I guess, because he has a good relationship with Dame. I don't even know if that really matters, though. I mean, like, it's not like Stotts is like this mastermind coach who had a ton of success. I mean, he's a competent head coach, clearly. But again, not someone you think would address the defensive end. Is Doc a defensive coach, I guess?
Is Doc a coach?
He's definitely a coach. This makes the thing on Bill Simmons' pod very funny now.
What thing?
Have you like when he was like, the Bucks are close, everyone's down on them, they're close, they just need to make a couple tweaks and they'll be right there. He was like from a distance, like that meme from The Office when they were hiring the new manager. I think it was Will Arnett is like, I'm not just going to tell you my plan. You have to hire me first. And it worked, maybe.
Oh,
we'll see.
Man. I don't get it. I'm going to be disappointed if it's Doc. It's going to be Doc, isn't it?
Might well be Doc.
Who do you think is the next coach of the Milwaukee Bucks?
I'll go with my little cute little report and say Scott Brooks.
You'll say Scott Brooks. You think that's what's going to happen?
Well, I think it's going to be Doc, but I'm having a take.
That's what I'm saying.
I think
it's going to be.
Until the last Woj thing that kind of pushed back on it, I was like 80% it's going to be Doc before that report from Woj.
If it's Kenny, this is perfect. If it's Kenny, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Like the Milwaukee Bucks, like John Horst, you guys need to do everything. Like have Giannis send an apology video to Mike Dunleavy, even though he was right. Like take the high road. Like I don't care.
No, I don't know.
Get Kenny Atkinson.
No, I'd rather not have him.
You'd rather not have Kenny just because of the apology video?
Yeah, I don't want to say we can't apologize. You can't just abandon who you are to get a coach, Rohan. This is the Nick Nurse. People say, oh, they should have had Nick Nurse. Give me this horrible, messy drama over rooting for Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
He wears NN hats. His personal brand. No.
I think Kenny, if you want to hear our full takes on Kenny, go back to the off-season pods. We'll give you our takes on why we think Kenny Atkinson is the way to go. But just a consistent veteran head coach who's been around the league for a while, has been like an architect of competent offenses and defenses in the modern NBA.
Yeah.
And just a very, very well-liked guy, knows how to manage personalities, has worked with so many different staffs, so many different players. He gets it.
I will say the upside for Doc or any of these other, somewhat boring retread options, I mean, could you not make the case that like you can just be an okay head coach and this team could win, especially if they make an upgrade at the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, again,
With
if
Giannis
Adrian
and
Griffin,
Dame,
Adrian Griffin was a mess, apparently, reportedly,
they
and they have the
lost.
second best record in the NBA.
And that's the thing. Like, I think they could actually be really good with Doc. He's not my pick. I'm not caping for Doc.
Yeah, so if they do hire Doc, you do this process again in 5 months.
See how the season goes. This is the Joe Barry thing. Maybe he does a good job. I will say this. That last Sixers year, I thought he coached pretty well in the playoffs. I watched a lot of those games. That was Harden and Embiid doing their things. Like, I thought the rotation was good. He didn't do the all-bench lineups. B-Ball Paul didn't play. It took him too long, and he got fired anyway because they blew it again. But also, it's James Harden and Joel Embiid in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're not loving it.
I'm not, especially when Kenny's out there.
Sort of out there.
Again, and for people who are unaware, it is possible for assistants.
Yeah, Chris Finch, I think, right?
Yeah, Chris Finch, yeah. He was a member of the Toronto Raptors staff when the Timberwolves fired Ryan Saunders, and they hired Chris Finch in the middle of the season.
No, didn't they fire someone else?
Was it not Ryan Saunders?
Was it him? No. You're right. I think you're right. I thought that was even longer ago, but things move so fast these days.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm Googling.
Did you see what Thanasis did? I'm trying to cheer you up.
Thanasis. It was Ryan Saunders.
Okay. Have you not seen this? Do I get to tell this to you? And
you can tell
you're going to love this. So this is news to Rohan Katti. I think I'm actually going viral. Yeah, I'm going viral by sharing this. So I'm in Thanasis's Instagram DM group, so he can share messages. This is what I get, like right in the middle of all this stuff, at 2:41 p.m. So he probably sent this. He sent this at 2:40 p.m. Central. So this, like an hour, 2 hours after all this started happening. Here's the notification from the Thanasis group. Thanasis Antetokounmpo created a prompt. Add to it. Recording a pod with Dame tonight. Drop your questions. Thanasis said, I feel bad for our team, but this is incredible. This is tremendous content.
There's no way they're recording 100%
true. They're recording a pod, and they're going to answer questions. Dude, like, that is
Thanasis, can we just do this as a collab pod? Like...
We have a lot of questions, actually.
We have many questions. He has to know all of the questions are going to be, what was Adrian Griffin doing? Who do you want the next head coach to be? What was going wrong with Adrian? Why did he get fired?
The fact that he has Dame on the podcast for this just kills me. I mean, this is going to be a must-listen episode if it actually happens.
It's going to get shut down like the garage sale.
Oh, man. I didn't drop my question in the group. I guess a lot of people probably had it covered.
No, you need to drop yours anyway.
I'll circle back to this. Hopefully I'm not too late. But yeah, I wanted to share with you.
Thank you. But here we are. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if you immediately after firing a coach and there's a report immediately saying there's a guy who's the leader in the clubhouse. It's unfortunately going to be him, probably.
Probably. Things happen,
but usually when it's been this matter of fact, almost immediately.
The pushback is just what interests me.
The pushback is what it is very interesting, and it is it does make me feel better. Plus, the Kenny Atkinson name drop in the report. I mean, the good thing is, like you mentioned earlier, they've interviewed these guys already. So,
I mean, Kenny was their top three, wasn't it? Griffin, Nurse, and Kenny.
It was their top three. And Kenny apparently came third. So, but your number one guy's gone. Your number two guy's coaching the Philadelphia 76ers. So, Kenny Atkinson, come on down.
I mean, we were excited about him before the year. I think he was second on our list after Ty Lue, basically. Yeah. We thought there was interest in him. He still hasn't signed that extension, but I somehow doubt he's going somehow leave
There's
the
no
Clippers as
shot.
they dominate. That doesn't happen mid-season.
There's no shot. No, the Clippers are a very good team.
I would give up the 2 seconds for Tyler though.
Oh, immediately in a heartbeat.
That's not a real thing. No one get excited about that, please.
No, it's not going to happen. Like 0% chance.
Yeah,
but it's looking like Doc Rivers, Kenny Atkinson, maybe Scott Brooks. Who knows? Terry Stotts. There's no like we joke they're not hiring Bud.
Do you think Bud is less likely than Terry Stotts?
Yes. I think so.
I feel like they're kind of equally unlikely, to be honest.
I feel like Terry Stotts would take it if he was offered.
I don't know if Bud wouldn't.
I don't know if Bud would either, which is why, like, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's happening at all. Like, even, first of all, the Bucks are not going to say, hey, we fired you, like, less than a year ago, but, hey, do you want to come back? And two, like I mentioned earlier, there's reasons that they moved on in the first place.
They did it with George Hill.
Yeah, but George Hill just kept, he was there because of Bud.
Yeah, but I mean, just that idea. Oh, we dumped George Hill. Come on back, George Hill. Like twice.
But trades and fire feels different though.
It is different.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you can get over the immense weirdness of it all. He's the best name on the list we've talked about.
No, he is. But again, there's a reason you moved on in the first place. Neither side really wants to probably retread that and make it a weird relationship. But again, he knows the guys. I mean, he doesn't know Dame, but in terms of being a member of the Milwaukee Bucks,
it won't be him. We shouldn't spend.
It's not going to be Bud. It's not going to be Bud.
You don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah. All right, Pete, Adrian Griffin.
Yeah, imagine if it gets worse.
I mean, again, they could lose games. Like, again, through all this, they've been winning.
I wonder if we get the proverbial dead coach bounce tomorrow against the Cavs.
Oh, they're guaranteed.
You think they're going to play real well?
Yeah, guaranteed.
You think Giannis is going to campaign for Prunt Dog?
He might. Do we think Joe Prunty actually has a shot?
No. The way they put it out, they were like immediately no. They said the search for our next head coach is ongoing. Joe Prunty will be the interim.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Listen, if there was someone on the staff to take over, I would rather have it be Patrick Mutombo.
I was going to say, maybe
that's
Patrick
an intriguing
Mutombo.
Future head coach, but it seems like they do not want to go down that path again.
No.
Especially with Mutombo being the Griffin guy. I'm sure there's just a concern, like with the Ham stuff, that it would be the same issues.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Darvin gets fired.
Just, it's not all his fault in LA. He's not doing an inspiring job as the Lakers head coach. The way all of that is going does not make me eager for that reunion.
But when you fire a coach midseason, these are your candidates.
Well, I mean, he still works there, so he's not a candidate.
Yes.
But.
No, I'm saying potentially. But what I'm saying is you're not getting the cream of the crop in terms of candidates when you're doing this right now in January. Maybe into February. Who knows? I don't think it's going to take them very long, unfortunately.
Oh, no. I think end of the week is probably right for at least maybe not the the official introduction, but a report.
Yeah. I feel like if they know they can't like get an interview with Kenny, they're just going to do a Doc hire immediately. Doc Rivers is going to coach this team, man.
His gravelly voice.
Oh, at least we don't have to hear him on broadcasts.
Well, just for a very small amount.
Ty, why? Just why? Why is Doc Rivers going to be the coach of this team? I'm going through it. Things
were going too well for us. We got Dame,
really were.
Bismack is looming.
DeJounte. Again, can you even this affects the trade deadline too? I know I'm retreading, but
I don't know if it does that much. I mean, we talked about before. I mean, they need defenders no matter what scheme you're going to run, and they don't have enough. Did you just see something? Oh
no, I'm trying to see if I found something, but I actually
think it could work out.
It could work out. It definitely could work out. And I'll be fine laughing at myself if Doc Rivers leads this team to a title. But there's just plenty of evidence that shows that it's not a likely combination.
Yeah.
Again, like he won a title 16 years ago. It's a long time. People born after Doc Rivers won the title are going to be driving.
I don't think he's as worse as the non-Kenny candidates.
I don't think so either, but that's the issue again with hiring a coach in the middle of the season. What's Kevin McHale up to?
Oh God,
Dwayne Casey.
He's probably planning like nothing. Dwayne Casey, he's a Pistons advisor. Also, like, no. If the Pistons gave you their first round pick to absorb Monty Williams' contract, would you do it?
Say that again?
If the Pistons gave you their first round pick to absorb Monty Williams' contract, would you do it?
Yes.
I would too. Even though I think he stinks. He'd probably care more.
Yeah, he probably would care more. Sorry, Mark Stein has a tell-all that I'm sort of perusing right now.
Any new details?
I'm thinking.
You're thinking? Are you reading or thinking?
I'm reading and thinking.
Well, let me talk about something. The Heat got Terry Rozier.
Yeah, scary Terry.
I laughed at the last pod, and now look what happens. But this makes the Hornets another, throw them in the 4 or 5 teamers now that they've got an expiring contract and Lowry they can send in. Anyway, what do you got?
So apparently, this is from Mark Stein, that if Terry Stotts was still on the coaching staff right now, he would be the head coach.
Well, of course he would.
Yeah. A lot has been bubbling under the surface. That was apparently said 2 weeks ago, that Terry Stotts thing.
By who?
By a well-connected NBA insider.
That's weird. New IG notification. Oh, no, I was hoping it's just recently added stories. I was hoping it was the Thanasis follow-up here.
It says this one is on Giannis.
This one is on Giannis?
Yeah, that's what Stein is saying.
Like the decision?
Yeah, no, like the initial hiring decision. Like this was basically Giannis's guy. Apparently league sources say now that the desire to play for Griffin, according to Giannis, is better described as determination to play for someone other than Nick Nurse.
Fire. I'm with him on that. Thanasis was at the Medical College of Wisconsin this afternoon, visiting patients. Oh, this dude is going on a media tour.
That's nice. That's really nice.
It is very nice. It's just so just out and about doing podcasts and events right through all this. It's just wild.
This is okay. It doesn't look like there's a lot of news here.
I can see the questions that Thanasis asked for, and they're actually not all about. What do you want to learn something about? A dog or a squirrel?
What?
How does it feel to be here in Milwaukee? Can you get gritty?
Are these bots?
I don't know. A lot of them are the same. Someone
maybe
why do they fire the coach?
Ask your. Okay, there you go. Ask your coaching questions.
Now we're getting some about the coach. About the team's vibe. People are just asking stuff for Dame too. Someone asked Dame why he cropped you out of the picture after the Dame time buzzer beater, which is hilarious. Somebody asked him how to perfect his shooting form. Oh, again, this is for Dame. Okay, I keep getting confused about some of these questions. Anyway, people did ask him though about the coach. Will they talk about it?
No shot. I mean, players talk about a lot of stuff on their podcasts. Like Paul George does some tell-all stuff.
Paul George is going to be on his pod this week. That's crazy. That's what he's going to say.
I love Podcast Pete.
He's a good podcaster.
No, he is. He's legit a good podcaster. But I mean, do we have anything else we need to talk about, Ty?
I don't.
This is crazy. This is crazy, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like, I did not expect this to happen. I was not sold that Adrian Griffin was the coach for this team. And like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, I know he's like, I wanted him fired. No, I'm not gonna say that because I didn't want him fired precisely because of the situation they're in now.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not. So, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
They clearly bungled the hire.
Yep.
I'm not mad about firing him with what we're hearing about what it was like behind the scenes. And I think we did hear we heard not a lot. That's what frustrates me about this is we didn't get any reports really since like Chris Haynes and the in-season tournament thing with Bobby, where again, like the moral of the story was like, everyone was like, okay, that sounds good. We need to do this going forward. Like we weren't getting like, Giannis and Dame are frustrated. We're like, usually you get some sort of reporting that comes out. The Bucks were almost too tight-lipped for that. And so that's why you would hear like these like third-hand things, like, oh, things are crazy in Milwaukee. And then I would ask like, oh, is this reported on? Like, what's the details? Oh, it's just, people are saying. And I guess people were saying. But it stinks. It's a bad way for the season to go. And they're really going to have to nail whoever comes next to make sure that this season and this era aren't lost. But the flip side is they're really talented. I mean, this shouldn't be that hard of a coaching job. And honestly, maybe even if the schemes aren't drastically different, players being more bought in and in lockstep will make a difference anyway.
Yeah, you just need someone who's going to be able to take charge, lead this locker room. Is it going to be Doc? Is Doc Rivers capable of doing that? Who knows, considering he likes to throw people under the bus whenever possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a major inflection point for the franchise. I said that about the last coach. I said that about the last coaching hire. I have to say it again now, and maybe I'll say it again in 5 months.
Maybe.
Who knows? This is their second head coaching search in less than a year.
Here's a spin for you. What does it do for Giannis' legacy if he wins with Doc?
Man, winning in spite of Doc Rivers is crazy.
Hey, man. Did your GOAT win a title with Doc Rivers? Probably not, because Paul Pierce is no one's GOAT.
I was going to say, unless your GOAT's Paul Pierce or KG.
KG, maybe some people's GOAT is KG.
Yeah, that's fair.
Aspiring actors or hoodie enthusiasts.
Somehow stays on his head. Oh, man.
He could be the coach.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not even gonna pretend to go along with that one.
He's consulted the Bucks before. That's all it takes.
Yeah. Under who?
Jason Kidd.
Yeah, exactly.
Good thing he's not available.
Apparently, there's a fast track to consulting and being the head coach of the Bucks. So,
KG's
apparently, Ty. What do you mean Doc Rivers has been consulting with the Bucks for the last month?
Like
informal consulting. What
info.
Do you mean?
If that means they met in Vegas and and that's pretty much
that was more than a month ago.
That was a month and a half ago.
It's 2 months at this point.
Wasn't that early December? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's a little over a month ago. Yeah, it's just because what we said. I mean, it doesn't make sense if like Doc is like Machiavelli pulling strings and they still stink.
I don't know. I don't understand. We need more information about it now, because that's just it's crazy. It's crazy that Doc Rivers has just been like, who knows whether it's just that one meeting or actually an informal consultant like they described.
Brooke won. Will Brooke be less pissed off now?
I don't know, maybe.
Brooke's been pretty pissed.
Brooke's been getting angry. He did the Larry Sanders, except not a thumbs up.
I can't believe he didn't get in more trouble, to be honest.
I can't believe he didn't get ejected.
Yeah. If anyone missed it, it's F you, F you, F you. Pointing at all three of the refs, and Marjan and TA are like, whoa.
Marjan's face was just crazy. He's just like, oh my God, I've never heard this from Brooke. But Brandon Jennings wants to throw his name into the mix.
I'm more out on that than you are on KG.
Yeah, I don't think I could
Jennings is involved enough.
he's too involved. Some might
You could say that too.
You could say that any level of involvement is too much for Brandon Jennings.
He designed the rings. I feel like that's a good, or had some input there. I think that's all we needed.
There's a Bucks and
Jostens.
What's his brand? I forget.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna try to remember it, and I was like, "Wait, it doesn't. I don't care." Sorry,
it doesn't matter.
Brandon Jennings. I don't care though. I don't wear any fashion, but
I'm in shock time.
I hope we're wrong, and Griffin really was that bad, because that would be a good outcome. Because now the rest of the year they'd really be ready to cook.
I guess. We can only learn about it when we see the next head coach, and even then we might
come on the pod. Doc, prove us wrong. Come on the pod.
Yeah, Doc, prove us wrong. Come on the pod.
Debate Rohan.
Yeah, of course he'd win.
He is a good orator. Is that all they need?
I don't know. Make me the coach then.
That'd be fun.
That would not be fun. No, that would not be fun at all.
It would be fun for me. It'd be great content.
It would be the best content ever. But
would I be on the staff though?
Yeah, you can be on the staff.
Yes.
It would not go well.
Just imagine the bench. It's you in a very nice suit, and then it's like, who would you get as your number 2?
Ooh, that's a good question. Who's my number 2?
It has to be a real coach. You have to bring in a real coach as your number 2.
Kenny Atkinson.
I don't think he's moving over for that. I was going to say Kenny Atkinson too. Maybe Patrick Mutombo. You could maybe Joe Prunty will stay on.
Yeah.
And then me.
Maybe. What about Charles Lee? Again, he's the associate head coach in Boston.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if he left. I mean, that would be dramatic if they got Charles Lee to come back.
That would be
more excited about that than Darvin, to be honest.
I would be more excited about that than Darvin too. But
it's the same issue though. I feel like they probably wouldn't want a guy who's never been a head coach before. I feel like now they're scarred.
No, they're not doing that. They need someone. They're going to get someone with head coaching experience. Charles Lee, I wouldn't be mad at them.
I think I'm just resigned to, like, if it's Kenny, that's really great. And the other 3 guys that we've mainly talked about, I'm just like, okay.
Sure.
Brooks, Stock, and Stotts.
I guess. Yeah. It's like just there. They're just there.
Yeah.
It's like an average, maybe below average NBA head coach.
I think they're all above average. I think
who's an average head coach?
Dude, probably like Steve Clifford.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have all won a ton.
Yeah. Again, I'm trying to think who's Chris Finch. Is he an average head coach?
He's probably in that middle third.
Wolves are really good though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to say Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel's way above average. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe those 3 guys are actually just average.
Maybe.
I mean, it's like Lou, Kerr. I guess you can still say Pop. Spo's number 1. Yeah.
Spo's number 1. Missoula, maybe. Who knows?
That's right. I just feel like there's so much we don't know.
I don't really know. All he does is just watch the town.
And talk about it. And he's mad if you don't ask him about it. I just have a hard time believing that guy is a top 5 coach. He's just like, stop asking me about basketball. Let's talk about the town. You didn't ask my favorite scene from the town, which is a real thing that happened.
Yeah, it's like once you get past the top tier of guys, they're just sort of there. I mean, there's I'd have like a Frank Vogel up near the top too.
Yeah. I think Frank Vogel's very good.
I don't even know.
But again, like he got ran out of town by the Lakers, and there's been things with the Suns. No, it wasn't. But like even a guy that you think about like that, like can get run out of a situation, and bad coaches can get a lot of wins. Coaching is weird.
It's so weird. It's so hard for just watchers of the game to really analyze because you don't necessarily know what they're trying to implement when it comes to like managing personalities, when it comes to like how much of this is on the players, how much of this is on the staff or on the head coach, how much of it is on the staff, like in terms of game preparation. It's a system. Like the head coach is a person, but the entire thing is a system. So it's hard to really diagnose what exactly goes wrong where. So you could say, you're like, yeah, this is all Adrian Griffin's fault for the reason that the Bucks do not look like they know what they're doing on offense and defense. You could also say it's on the players. You could also say it's part like, oh, maybe some of the assistants aren't really doing very well. Maybe it's something else entirely. Like you don't know that, but we do know that the Milwaukee Bucks don't have a head coach.
That's very disrespectful to the Prunt dog and maybe to Glenn Doc Rivers.
He is an interim head coach.
Yeah.
They do not have a head coach.
No, at least not right now. We will be back on at some point, probably within a week, to discuss when they do have a head coach. I believe Adam and Jordan record later this week. Maybe they'll have a head coach by then, maybe not. But we will be back.
Tell you what, Wednesday's game against the Cavs is going to be very interesting.
Everyone is going to be locked down to schemes and rotations like a hawk. It would be. I mean, I'm expecting they win that game, but we'll see. Who knows?
I'm expecting
knows?
that things aren't really going to deviate too much.
But think of, like, the Prunty is such a weird variable because he coached Giannis and Chris 6 years ago.
It's such a crazy variable. It's crazy. Like,
I am guessing, given the cachet and weight behind the personalities on the roster, that players have more input over what happens pre the next head coach.
For sure.
I am guessing we see drop and switch because that is what worked for the Bucks over the last 5 years. And offensively, I am guessing Dame has the ball more.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen with rotations
and maybe some
everything.
more pick and roll.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Those are my big guesses. I think there have been gripes that have happened, and I would imagine part of this move is like, all right, we're going to throw out some of this stuff.
Yeah. And again, maybe was that an issue with Adrian Griffin in the sense like the players and him were clashing because he could not really get buy-in from the players. Who's the head coach that's going to do that? Like the Bucks have they have personality.
It's me. I'm trying to do Doc, but it sounds more like Tibbs. I can't. One time I lost my voice in college after a pub crawl. I could do a perfect Doc Rivers. I wish I had recorded it with no voice and then like do like an even deeper version of having no voice, like a horse. And I sounded just like I was doing Doc impressions all day. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We shall see. We'll be back later. Adam and Jordan will be recording later this week too. We'll obviously, have a pod whenever there's an update.
Manifest Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, everyone manifest Kenny Atkinson and wish Ty a happy birthday.
It's eventful.
It's eventful. It's eventful for sure. We'll leave it here. Let us know your thoughts, what you want to see for the next head coach. Tweet us, leave it in the YouTube comments, whatever. Join our Discord, gspn.info. There's a link to enter our Discord in there. Make sure you stay tuned for this eventful era of the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm still shocked.
I mean, no one can blame you, Rohan.
I'm still. It felt like it came out of nowhere.
Pod Random's going to be 4 coaches old by the time they hire and institute a new coach.
Oh man!
If we count the Prunt dog millionaire.
Prunt dog millionaire. Pod Random. We'll talk to you next time.